Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is my review of Destiny. This is just some multiplayer footage that I recorded. It wasn't, I can't remember if it was particularly a good game, but it's just footage, and I thought it might help you decide whether you like it or not. So I just went with it. Yeah, first off, I'm going to start with the multiplayer since we're watching it anyway. The Crucible playlist, it's you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. It's nothing amazing. It's not as good as the Halo multiplayer, in my opinion, but everyone has a different opinion. Um, yeah. Control, which I think is absolute shit, is the hard point. The hard point? No, not hard point. Domination. It's the domination version of the game. Clash is the team deathmatch. Salvage is a limited time one, I believe. It's just there. I'm not too sure about it. I tried it. I don't particularly like it. I've come to like Clash. That's if I play Crucible, it's going to be Clash now. Rumble is fucking awful. The free for all. The spawning is shit, and it's only 6 players, which isn't bad for 6 players isn't bad, but the spawning is awful. The balancing isn't that great between classes. What other game modes are? There's a fourth game mode, which I believe is Skirmish, but it hasn't been unlocked for me. I've also done Strikes. Strikes are another Strikes are another playlist. Strikes aren't bad. They're just the bosses that you've already faced, but at a harder difficulty. I don't like how, say, I'm level 22, and then my friends are all level 30, not 30, 25, and they won't play it with me. I can't play their version of the Strike or their higher version of Strike. They don't want to play with me because they don't get any loot from it. That's their words, not mine. I think they get loot, but it's just particularly shit. Now, the $500 million budget on this game, that's a load of shit. That is just a load of shit. I know it's not all for the game, it's for the advertising. The advertising is full on. There was all the E3 demos which they paid for. But up until that, I had not seen any advertisements until the game had been released. And I don't understand why. That might just be me, but I had not seen anything until the game. Moving on to the story, we'll stay on the budget. So for the advertising, I reckon they've spent 50 million on the game. There is not enough content to justify a huge budget. If you look at this game and then you look at Halo 3, Halo 3 was a $60 million budget. And the advertising for that was a lot better in my opinion. And the game is a lot better, in my opinion anyway. I'm sure there are going to be a lot of people that think this is better. I know a lot of PlayStation fanboys. I hate that word, fanboy. I'm just going to love this game purely because it's on PlayStation. Like, I went on Metacritic and read some reviews. Xbox version, 0 out of 10. PlayStation version, 10 out of 10. I don't understand why. It's the same game. Looks the exact same. Runs the same. There's just no point. That just doesn't make sense. The story of this game, I'm going to compare it to Watch Dogs a bit as the main protagonist. Aiden Pierce was a terrible character, and who you play as is the same terrible character. Both of them are just wet towels. They have no personality or anything. They don't have a backstory, and quite frankly, the story in this game doesn't make any sense unless you follow, like, you can probably make sense of it, but it just doesn't really. It's a really, really weak story. once again, compare that to the Halo games, which we've seen how great Bungie can be as a developer, and then we get onto this. They have a 10-year plan for this game. The consoles aren't even going to last 10 years. I think it's coming to PC next year, which will obviously be better, of course. But still, there's not enough content at launch, and it's not worth $100. Definitely not. I paid $130 for the limited edition. The story is really lackluster. I don't understand why, if we're trying to take Earth back, why are we going to Venus instead of just wiping out all the enemies on Earth? Why are we going to Mars instead of killing the enemies on Earth? The voice acting, there's not a lot of it, but I like Peter Dinklage. Dinklage, am I saying that right? I'm not sure, but I think that's how you say it. Peter Dinklage I find him a good actor. I like a lot of his movies. If you can hear my dog in the background there, that's her. She's rolling around on the ground. I like a lot of his movies that he's in, but his acting is awful. Not awful, but I get he's a robot, but he's just so boring. And the whole game is go from point A to point B, deploy your ghost. He's gonna fuck up. You have to protect him. Okay, moving to point C, deploy your ghost. He's gonna fuck up again. Protect him. Point D, deploy your ghost. Mission over. Moving on to the next planet or the next mission on the planet. Go to point A, deploy your ghost. If he fucks up, defend him. It's the same thing over and over. It's really repetitive. They marketed the game, well, not really marketed it, but they made it look like an MMO first-person shooter. If you go watch the E3 trailers, they show this whole open world that you can't go to. You just can't go there. They showed you all the things off in the distance, and everyone was under the impression that you could go there, but you can't. And it's really disappointing. Like, you go to the tower, and you can look out at the last city on Earth, and that's where you want to be. You don't want to be... The tower, there's like 12 to 16 players in it. You can't interact with them besides waving and dancing with them. It's not like you can ask them to join you. You can't speak to them. You can invite them to your team, you can invite them to your party, but other than that, you can't speak to them. There's no world for you to go exploring together. You get dropped off in an area and run through the same thing about 10 times on each world, if not even 10 times, a little bit under that. You run through it all, do it all again, and it's got the MMO spawning style, though. So, you kill all your enemies, take a step out of the room, come back, they've all spawned back. And it just gets old after a while. The loading times are so long. I was doing a explore mission where I was just going around on Venus, and I was stuck in a loading screen on that for 4 minutes. I don't know why. It was 4 minutes. That was the longest I'd ever had. But, oh no, it wasn't explore. It was during a strike, so I didn't want to leave. Otherwise, I wouldn't have tolerated that. I would have left after 30 seconds. But it was almost over and I wanted to do it. Everybody else got through really quickly. I think one person had to stop for about 10 seconds. The other one went straight through. Mine was 4 minutes, which was awful. Raids are meant to be coming out. I don't know how they will be. I'll probably do another video on them. What else? I'll ramble on about the planets again. There's not enough of them. It's really short. The story is really weak. You can only play in groups of 3, which is so stupid. Why 3? it's I'm either always just playing with one other person and it's pretty boring with only two people, or I've got two other people that I want to play with, and then we're stuck with four, where we can either have us three playing together and then tell one guy to fuck off, or we can split up into groups of two, but then we're just back to the first problem. And it's an awkward number three. I don't know why they chose that. The classes are another thing. The three classes and three races. I don't know why there's only three. Um, but they have skill trees. Not that you can decide what path you want to take. It's pretty much level up. Oh, yep, you get this ability now. Why do I have to go activate it instead of it just automatically doing it? I don't have a choice. That's the one I'm going to get. But why do I have to do it manually? The subclasses as well. From what I can tell is the Hunter's subclass is better than his original one. Titans are both pretty good. Warlock, the first one is good. Second one, not so much. And I just don't know why they have the skill tree there. It just doesn't make sense to me. Engrams are another thing. I think I said that right, engrams. Why go through the trouble of having them if you can just unlock them at the tower for free? That's not how it's supposed to work. It's meant to be hard to unlock in every other game. The loot system isn't that great. I keep getting stuff. I play a strike, and after it, I get stuff. I'm playing as a warlock. I get stuff for hunters, and I get stuff for titans. I wouldn't mind that if the other people in my group were getting stuff for warlocks and I could trade. But you can't trade, so it's stupid. And then once you get to 20, you then use light in your armor to level up for some reason. It's a bit stupid. I don't understand why they did that instead of just keeping XP. At the end of the story, you get no spoiler here. At the end of the story, you get a pulse rifle, which is very, very disappointing. I thought I'd get something really good. There's three factions in the game: Dead Orbit, New Monarchy, and I can't really remember what the other one is, but I think it's the red one. There's red, white, and blue, and I don't see the point in them. I've joined Dead Orbit, but I don't really see the point. I can get some legendary gear, but why? I could already get legendary gear from playing. Loading screens when you're going from planet to planet. What's the point of upgrading your ship? Sure, you get to look at something else, but you don't actually get to do anything with it. And that's just another thing that disappoints me, because I thought we would, and when it looked like it was going to be an open world game, fully open world, how they made it look. They showed a ship flying in and dropping off the player, and that just doesn't happen. Your player is going to fly to the planet. You're not going to see a ship fly in, and he's just going to spawn in, either at the start or right near you, and it's not thrilling. What else? It's good if you weren't hyped for it. It's a fun game, don't get me wrong. But it's not the amazing game they made it out to be. It's just, we've seen a lot better from Bungie.